On today's episode of Bet Bath & Beyond, we talk about last week's playoff games, Ian tells a story about the Chiefs, I forget what fucking basketball is, and we wrap with some Ravens news. You're not going to want to miss it.
3, 2, 1, go. I am Ian Peacock.
And I am Andy Heidemann, and I hate sports betting. No matter what you say, I'm betting 100 on it tonight.
Welcome to Bet Bath & Beyond.
Brought to you by B3TSports.com,
baby.
Yeah.
That was good. No messing around, no fooling, no riffraff. We're just getting straight to business. No sponsors. If you want to sponsor us, reach out. We are poor and hungry.
Yes.
Yes.
And addicted to gambling. Send help.
And addicted to gambling. And virtual reality.
And virtual reality. You know, I took a break from betting this weekend. I didn't make a single bet. I wanted to.
That's
really
good.
Bad. But I didn't. And now I'm ready and primed to bet for the next weekend.
There you go. Just need a week off. Big shout out, by the way. Big shout out to our boy Johnny Walks. He is a blogger on B3T Sports. So go to our website and you can read all about all our picks, all our takes. He had a blog on Friday, Parlay Partay with a lot of Y's. Yes. I don't know why he did that, but a Partay. And he went 4 for 4 this weekend on the games.
Let's go.
So, I was mad because he picked the Bills, and we'll get into it. But, yeah, hey, he got all 4 right. So that's what you aim to win the game. You don't aim to lose the game.
No, yeah. I agree. You're talking to a dude. You're talking to the guy who takes 10-team parlays because he thinks it's fun. You got to play.
You're a psychopath. Let's just get that out of the way. We're all psychopaths, but you especially. You're a psychopath.
Special breed.
Yes.
Yes, you are.
I'm
trying to think if there's any other sports stuff that we want to maybe talk about. I don't think so.
No. Do you want to just get
football?
right into the NFL? Yeah, we'll get right into the NFL. This might be a shorter episode than usual because we only have 4 games to go over. We'll probably get back into our segments, like our fuck around segments that we did before the NFL season, especially since we only have NBA and hockey right now, right?
Right. Although it's going to give me a little bit more time to invest in soccer.
Yeah, we'll talk some soccer. There's soccer going on. Look, there will always be something to bet on. Always something to bet on. That's true.
Man, my NFL doesn't really want to load.
Your NFL? Well, no, that's fine. You know what, Andrew? I'll take us into the first game. Okay. So we have Packers, Rams. First game on Saturday. The Packers were 6.5-point favorites, and they covered. Let's just start right off the bat. They covered.
We knew they were going to cover.
Yes, we did.
Like there was no
Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
No Cooper Kupp. You have Jared Goff with a broken thumb. I've been calling them. I'm not going to go back into them saying they're frauds. I'm not going to go into the fraudland territory because they got to the divisional round. They won a playoff game. And they also played the best team in the NFC. So I'm not going to send them back to fraudland because that's not where they belong. However, they're missing one of their best wide receivers. Their quarterback has a broken thumb. I thought they kept it close for a little bit, but Aaron Rodgers in Lambeau in January, you're not going to beat him.
If you look at some of these stat lines too, like Cam Akers, they gave him the ball 18 times, rushed for 90 yards, and he got a touchdown. That's what they want. That's definitely what they want. Jared Goff, he only completed 21 passes, but he only threw it 27 times. His efficiency wasn't maybe that great because it was only 174 yards, but he didn't turn the ball over. He didn't throw an interception. He threw a touchdown. I just think that they were limited by what they had, and Green Bay's just really good.
I also, going back to the Rams, I like the Wildcat play with Akers. I thought that was cool.
I did too.
And it worked.
Apparently, he used to play quarterback.
Cam Akers?
In high school or something, I think. I don't think in college. But that was something that the announcers mentioned when.
Well, the announcers can go fuck themselves because everybody who makes it to the pros, I'm sure, has played pretty much every position in high school. They're because they're so good.
I don't know about that.
What do you mean? They're so good that early on. I mean, I'm sure Cam Akers played wide receiver too. I'm sure he lined up as a wide receiver.
Sure, but you said every position. I mean, that's
okay. Are you really gonna? Are you gonna say punting?
That's important because if you say wide receiver, running back, and quarterback, that's 3 positions out of 11-man rosters on both sides. Like I'm just.
Yeah, sorry. They played the most flashy positions. The best positions. No,
I mean, I'd believe that. Probably.
I'm not saying Cam Akers kicked field goals in high school, Andrew. Okay, but
some people wanted him to. Not him, but some people that were really good in high school. Like, let me do everything. Let me kick it. It'll be funny.
Do you know this for a fact, Andrew? Or are you fucking with me?
What, that other... No. There are definitely people who would ask the coach, like, hey, I want to kick because I think I can do it. But they'll be like, if the coach is good, and depending on the size of your school, they're going to be like, no fucking way in hell are we getting... Because if you're the starting running back, they're not going to put you out there to kick because...
Well, why can't you just find a soccer player? That's what we did in high school, the soccer players.
That's what Pat McAfee did.
Yeah, exactly. He just grab a soccer player. I'm not going to practice,
but I'll show up to kick.
just grab a soccer player off the varsity squad, and you're golden.
Honestly,
but don't expect us to block or tackle or do anything like that's not going to happen.
Oh God,
no,
absolutely not.
Break my bones.
And we wouldn't expect it. We gotta.
I'm a fairy. I'm a field fairy.
Okay. But anyway, that. We knew the Packers were going to win. Good for them. They're definitely the best team on that side. I don't know. We'll talk about the other matches, but obviously foreshadowing here, we're going to talk about the Bucs Saints. The Bucs win that game. The Bucs will have to play the Packers. I don't know where I lean here.
Okay, so you do know, and this is a crazy stat that I'm sure everyone's heard by now, that Aaron Rodgers has not played a home conference game in Lambeau.
Yes, I've heard that, and it is insane.
That is crazy.
There's another stat floating around of do you know how many NFC Championship games the Cowboys have played in since they entered the NFC in 97?
20.
0.
Wait. Say that again?
How many NFC Championship games that the Cowboys have played in since they entered the NFC in 1997?
1997. Wow. So they have not been to a single championship game in their entire... So were they in the AFC? I'm confused.
Well, the stat that I read was that they've been to 0 and Tom Brady has been he will be to 1 in his 1 year in the NFC.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is obviously the Cowboys have won rings, right? Troy Aikman won 3 of them as the Cowboys quarterback. Are you saying that
they must have been in? They must not have been in the NFC at that point in time.
That's weird. They must have been in the AFC, unless there was a third conference that we don't know about that went
the Gary Johnson conference,
and it went extinct. I don't know.
I thought that was a crazy stat. It's just so funny that Tom Brady's 1 year in there. He's I made it.
Yeah, no, that is crazy. We'll preview these games more in depth in our Friday's episode. Obviously, we'll go through all the lines and give our picks and all that other stuff. But I just don't see anybody stopping Aaron Rodgers. It's like he's on a revenge tour this season since the Packers drafted Jordan Love. He just looks like he's having fun. He's smiling. He's not taking himself too seriously. He's obviously going to be MVP of this season. I think he's going to go all the way. And when I say that, I think he's going to win a Super Bowl.
God, obviously he's a phenomenal quarterback and his legacy will be very well remembered, but another Super Bowl is icing on the cake for this guy.
For sure. One more. Think about and we'll get to, I know we're foreshadowing a lot of these games. We'll get to the Saints game, but imagine if Drew Brees had won another Super Bowl before he retired. I mean, Drew Brees will go into the Hall of Fame. He will get his bust, and it'll look great, even with his balding hair and with his scar or birthmark or whatever the fuck that is. It's going to look great in Canton, Ohio, but he's got one ring, okay? It's crazy that someone of that caliber only has one ring. It just goes to show you how hard it is for quarterbacks to act, great quarterbacks, Hall of Fame, great quarterbacks to actually win multiple Super Bowls. Which is crazy because Eli has 2.
So I was thinking
for real though,
earlier.
That's crazy. That is an insane thing.
I think it would be a very interesting article topic. I was thinking about writing around Thanksgiving, but I didn't end up doing it. And then I was rethinking about it just the other day, how weird and awkward certain Thanksgiving dinners are, like Peyton and Eli's, or like both the Harbaughs, or like the Watts Thanksgivings, like especially like if things are really tight in division or something. And I always think that'd be super funny. Because Peyton's like, I got better stats. And Eli's like, I've beaten Tom twice.
I feel like that's a Gridiron Heights episode or something.
Well, maybe.
You don't think? Anyway. That sounds like something exactly like out of the Gridiron Heights animation shorts that Bleacher Report does.
They do have some really funny Thanksgiving ones. It's just like all the NFL players sitting around. And it's just really like it's always hosted by Jerry Jones.
Oh man.
Anyway, Packers cover. Rams had kind of a mediocre season. They had a fine season, but
I think they exceeded expectations that I had on them. I mean, they lost to the Jets. They lost to the fucking Jets.
Right. Oh my God, that is a piece of offseason news that we have not talked about that I think is super funny. The Seahawks, they lost their offensive coordinator. They didn't see eye to eye. Apparently, him and Pete Carroll, they got rid of him, and now they are rumored to be looking at Adam Gase.
No way.
And not only would that just be atrocious in general, but then him and Jamal Adams would be on the same team again. That
is hilarious. Now, Andrew, I know you hate Adam Gase as a head coach. Yes. I know you hate him maybe as an offensive coordinator. I don't know. Do you think he has a future of just sticking to his niche as an offensive mindset?
I think he does, but if he's smart, he will not go somewhere like the Seahawks where they want to run it, where they want to. I mean, I don't know. Maybe depending on who you ask, that might be a good thing because he's going to have Russ. So even if he does have to air it out, you'd be like, oh, he's Russell Wilson. That was still a good game. Good for Adam Gase. But they don't do like what Peyton Manning did when he was the offensive coordinator for him. You're not going to be having Russ throw it 40 times. You're not going to be getting that kind of action. So it makes me wonder what value you get from Adam Gase, why you would hire him. I think like if Adam Gase was going to go somewhere and just be an offensive coordinator, his best bet, unfortunately, would be probably like the Texans, the Colts, somewhere where you're going to hopefully hire a guy who can sling it a little bit better than what the Seahawks have done traditionally.
Right. But the fact that Adam Gase, after just having one of the worst head coaching seasons of all time, is looking to get a job right now. Like that's insane. Right. But I mean, hey, if you want him on your team, I sure as hell don't want him anywhere near the Ravens. But hey, if he fits and you have Jamal Adams on your team, why not?
Right. I give him a lot of shit, and he rightfully deserves it as a head coach. I'm not going to say he's done coaching forever, because I think the NFL has a bad history of recycling coaches that people work with. There's a lot of nepotism involved. It's just always how it's been. Whatever.
Sean McVay.
But what's that?
I said Sean McVay.
Right. I just like I think that there are going to be places that are going to be like, let's give him a chance. Like, look what he did for Peyton Manning. And it's like, that was 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
What do you think, real quick? We'll get back to these games. What do you think about Salah as the new Jets head coach?
Phenomenal pickup. I think that is a great. I think so. I think especially. I would like to see what they're going to do with their offseason moves and their draft. They still said that they have a big move coming, right? And everyone's speculating they're either going to trade the number 2 pick or trade Sam Darnold, right?
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do. Get Justin Fields? I don't know.
But I do think that I like the coach pick. That guy is always fired up. I don't know how he'll be as a head coach, but I like his personality every time I've ever seen him on the field.
Same. No, same. I like him. He's a great ball of energy, a great bald ball of energy.
They apparently Deshaun Watson really wanted them to consider him, and they didn't even bring him in for an interview.
Wow.
I know.
Well, okay,
They're going to lose Deshaun Watson.
100%. That, I mean, I saw on Twitter just the other day that it's becoming very clear in Houston that Deshaun Watson is leaving. Well, like,
now,
it's just, you can feel it in the air.
They did just today schedule and I think get set up an interview with the Chiefs offensive coordinator for the spot, even after like not getting him originally. So if they could get him, yep. But if they could get him, maybe Deshaun's like, okay, thank you. Like that's kind of what I wanted. But if I think now looking at it, that is their only shot.
Right.
Keeping Deshaun.
Okay. So getting back to the divisional playoffs, the Packers win 32-18 against the Rams.
They cover.
They do cover, and the overhit, 45.5. Okay. Now we'll get to
about the next game.
Yeah, we'll talk about the game that I dread talking about the most. Now listen, the score of this game is not indicative to how close this game actually was, because it was a back and forth game. The Ravens defense kept us in the game pretty much the entire time, even when Lamar was concussed and had to go out of the game and Tyler Huntley comes in as the backup. We even had an opportunity. We had two big opportunities to score, and we didn't. And I really wasn't expecting us to score with Tyler Huntley. I'm just saying that
he looked pretty good, all things considered, in my opinion.
Yeah, and he looked exactly like Lamar Jackson. Like, I was watching it with some friends, and they weren't even really like, they like turned their heads and like, oh wait, I thought Lamar Jackson was concussed. And I'm like, yeah, that's Tyler Huntley. He's our backup. And they just started cracking up because he's got the same build. He even has like the same tattoos as Lamar. Like, and obviously
sorely hurt with that injury from that last time he started.
Still? Yeah, we placed him on an IR.
Okay.
So if you watched, I don't expect anyone to have, but if you did watch the last game of the Ravens regular season against the Bengals, you would have seen Tyler Huntley in the fourth quarter because we we sat Lamar because we were, the game was over. So
and even going in, so in the third quarter, I mean the Bills did score, so it was 10-3, and then Lamar was down there when he threw that pick that ended up being a pick six. That was like Lamar's first turnover in the red zone in like 59 or 60 attempts, something crazy.
Yeah, and it was the worst case scenario, like absolutely worst case scenario. And then we get the ball back, and then the absolute worst scenario happens on that drive because, and I've been talking about it on this podcast since we played the Titans back in fucking the middle of the season, okay? We do not have good centers that can snap the ball properly to save their lives. We have two of them, okay? We have Matt Skura and we have Patrick McCarry. Both of them cannot snap the ball to save their fucking lives. And Lamar was doing what Lamar has been doing all season, playing shortstop and playing quarterback at the exact same fucking time, trying to field these wild ass snaps that are thrown his way. What happens in the play that he gets concussed? It goes skyrockets over his head, just like Big Ben, just like that snap that Big Ben had that the Browns scored on their game last week. Lamar is, super agile, tries to take the ball, scramble, and throw it away so we don't get a 20-yard fucking loss or even a touchdown, another touchdown because of it.
Right.
And as he's, trying to get the ball away, gets slammed to the ground and obviously gets a concussion. And then that's it. He's out of the game. So
do you think, what do you think are your guys' biggest priority in terms of personnel moving into the next season? Is it getting a better center, or do you think it's getting like a true 100% wide receiver one?
100%. It's a center. Like, it's one of those jobs that you didn't think was so important until you see it done terribly. And then you're like, holy fuck, we need an actual center so that we don't have to worry about, because again, this has been a pattern all season. I talked about it at the Titans game. I talked about it against the Colts. Okay. This is a trend. This isn't like a bad luck or, like Justin Tucker. Okay. He hit 2 doinks. Okay. Justin Tucker doesn't miss, and you can blame the wind. It was very windy. Okay. But that's not a trend. That's just bad beats. It went it just didn't go our way. Right. That's not the case with the centers. There's been a trend all season. They can't properly snap the ball, either one of them. So yes, 100% to answer your question, we need to focus on getting a good center that can give Lamar a good pass or a good snap every fucking time so that we can actually run a play, because it starts from the beginning, right? It starts from the snap. Then we can get a wide receiver. But I mean, holy shit, I didn't know how important a good center was. I didn't think that having someone that can't snap the ball to save their fucking life was such a fucking travesty, but it is. It's terrible. I don't want to go back to that. I don't want to go back to either one of them. Get rid of them.
Man, let me look here. The Ravens defense played really well. I mean, Josh Allen threw it 37 times, only completed 23 of them. He didn't have a turnover. He threw a touchdown, but I mean, based on how they've been playing, I thought that would be a lot worse. Stephon Diggs was still a problem, but he was going to be.
Yeah, Diggs had some nice catches. He finished the day with a touchdown and over 100 yards receiving, which, I mean, he's one of the best receivers in the game. Josh Allen did overthrow him a couple times. Thank God. There was one where he was wide open and Josh Allen just overthrew him because he's got a fucking rocket launcher attached to his arm. And thank God he did, because that would have been another touchdown. But
and J.K. Dobbins, I mean, I think he's a really good player, but he had 2 drop balls that were very pivotal in this game.
2 dropped balls, exactly. One that would have been a sure first down, that was very important drive, and then 2 was from Tyler Huntley, and it was in the red zone, and Dobbins just fucking missed it, and he could have had a touchdown. It would have definitely been a first down, and we could have scored from it. What's crazy too is, if you think about it, if Justin Tucker, and again, I've heard a lot of people like diss on Justin Tucker and saying he's not the GOAT anymore. He's not a good kicker. I still think he's the best kicker in the league. Let me say that up front, 100%.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I'm like, even if you say somebody's not the best kicker or somebody's not the best anything in the league anymore, you've got to be able to say who is.
Right, exactly.
I could not tell you who would be replacing this man.
Well, and even if Patrick Mahomes, who's the best quarterback in the game right now, even if Patrick Mahomes has a terrible game, we don't all of a sudden just say Patrick Mahomes isn't the best quarterback anymore because he had one bad game. Justin Tucker had one bad game. It was a very important game, obviously, but he never misses inside the 40 or between the 40 and 50 yard line, right? Between the 40 and 50 yards, he is fucking automatic. 2 doinks. If he makes it, Andrew, this is what is crazy. If he makes it, and we're talking inches because they were doinks, they hit off the fucking post, it still would have been a 1 possession game because it would have been 9-17.
Right.
1 possession. Yeah. We had so many chances. That means the Lamar pick 6. That means the Tyler Huntley overthrow to Marquise Brown on like one of the last drives. And then the very last drive we had where we got inside the red zone. J.K. Dobbins drops it. Mark Andrews drops it. If any of those touchdowns happen, we're talking about a potentially tie game if Justin Tucker makes those 2 field goals.
Man. Yeah, that was all these games this week. Aside from the Rams-Packers, the Rams-Packers game was kind of close, but not really. These other 3 games, though, were all very close, very exciting, down to the wire.
Yes. Look, I don't hate Buffalo at all. They are a great fan base. I love the chaos that they bring, smashing fucking tables, shirts off in the dead of winter when it's snowing. I love their fan base, and they contributed to Lamar Jackson's.
I was just gonna say that
charity. So look, I have nothing but respect for the Bills Mafia.
So now here's the question. I think I know your answer, but now is it, even if you respect them, is it better that you want the Bills to lose their next game, or do you want them to win the whole thing?
I want the Kansas City Chiefs to win the whole thing, and we can. And I have a story about that when we talk about the next game.
Okay.
So, Are you saying that because of the whole mentality of you want to lose to the champion?
Yeah, that's my mentality. Like if you're going to lose in the playoffs, losing to the Super Bowl champ is, in my opinion, the best way to go out. Just because, I
don't give a shit about that. I really don't. I can understand the mentality of it, but for me, it does nothing because.
Well, it's potatoes. I agree with what you say. It doesn't really matter, but I'm just saying if I had to pick one, I think that's where I would lean.
Sure. I mean, look, does it help that we've lost to the Chiefs 3 years in a row? And the fact that I can remind myself that they're the best team in football, and so maybe it's not that bad of a loss. Yeah, absolutely. I do that mentally. So I can understand wanting to lose to the team that wins the Super Bowl.
Okay. So 17-3, Bills win. Bills cover.
Yeah, they were 2.5 point favorites.
Definitely the under.
Big RIP for anyone who took the over in this game at 50 because it wasn't even close. And at halftime, it was 3-3.
Yep. Okay, Browns, Chiefs. This game was... There were a lot of things that happened in this game.
Yes, and we're going to go over all of it. Okay, so starting off, the Browns got robbed. 100% the Browns got robbed because of two things. One of the dumbest rules in the NFL, which is you fumbling into the opponent's end zone results in a touchback. The dumbest rule in football. I'm sure there was some stupid fucking reason that is why it is, but I don't understand it. Do you know why that's a rule?
I don't know the history of the rule, but when this happened, I was thinking to myself personally why it would be a thing. And some people are like, well, just give him the ball, give it to him on the 1. I think it's to discourage people from pretending to drop it if they're going to get tackled on the 1. Or, on the 5, throwing it into the end zone and then being like, okay, we're on the 1. Maybe then you're like, okay, now we could give it to him where they dropped it, where they lost possession. But I don't know. I would assume it has to be something along those lines.
That's so weird, though. Who the fuck would do that?
If it's going to put you in better field position, I bet a lot of people.
Okay, well, here's a little counter to that scenario is that you can do that literally in any part of the field. You can fumble it forward to gain an advantage, right? Well, because if you're on the sideline and you fumble it forward, you can get more yardage and then it goes out of bounds and then you're like, oops, sorry, you know what I'm saying? That's
if it goes out of bounds. I think there are rules too. If they think that you intentionally threw it forward or whatever, I think that is a penalty.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Fumbling it on purpose in a forward motion is illegal. So why would the scenario that you just said, where someone intentionally fumbles it forward into the end zone to maintain possession or whatever, that's still an illegal use of fumbling the ball?
I'm trying to think it might also have something to do, again, I'm talking out of my ass, but it might have something to do
well, aren't we all?
Right. It might have something to do with just adding on to the idea that, the other team has possession and they kick it and then it goes out the back of the end zone and that's a touchback.
I just don't know.
It's the other team, just any touchback results in.
It doesn't make sense.
Because, okay, imagine this. Okay, you throw the ball to somebody, they catch it in the air, they don't touch their feet to the end zone, but they caught it. If their feet aren't touching, is that possession?
Wait, if they catch a ball in the end zone, but they're
in the air and their feet haven't touched the ground, have they gained possession or do they have to touch the ground?
They have to touch the ground, of course.
Because I'm trying to think, if you're in the air and the ball gets knocked out of bounds, but if you don't have possession, then it wouldn't be considered.
No, you still need to. Now, you can jump into the end zone, and then you're okay. Because as long as your feet, if you're in the end zone already.
Yeah, as long as you touch down.
Right. If you break the plane and your feet were in bounds before you broke the plane, no matter where it was on the field, that's a touchdown. But you can't be in the end zone and not land in the end zone with the ball. Or, you know what I'm saying, not land in bounds.
I'll look it up. I'm very curious to see why this is a rule. But again, they're not the only team to ever get screwed by this. It happens to teams every single year. It happened to the Raiders twice last season.
I'm sure. Look, I'm not saying the Browns are special. I'm saying they got fucked because this rule is dumb as fuck.
Where the Browns got hurt the most, where the reason he fumbled it was the tackle, you could argue, was a dirty tackle.
Okay, so I said two reasons. The first one was the dumbest rule in football, which we just discussed, and that was my second. The blatant, obvious head. I mean, he led with the crown of his helmet the entire way into the tackle. In fact, looking at the replay, it doesn't even look like he used his arms. In fact, he puts his arms to his side, almost to like propel himself, like almost like a Super Smash Brothers move that like fucking I've seen Mario or Luigi do. They like lead with their head and they keep their arms to the side. That's basically what he did. He submarined himself right into, was it Peoples-Jones?
To Higgins.
Who was reaching out for the pylon and
after like a 20-yard catch and run.
I know, and nails him right in the head. So it was helmet to helmet. You can't lead with your helmet like he did. And he also made contact directly with Higgins' helmet, which is helmet to helmet. It's terrible all around in front of the refs and causes the fumble, obviously. And of course, in classic NFL fashion, that play, it can't be reviewed because of another bullshit rule that I don't understand why it can't be.
So that one I understand a little bit more, because if it were reviewable, then it would be challengeable. And these plays happen so fast. There's a reason that these plays are missed so much just in regular play. Like, oh, he lowered his helmet. Like, and you have to make these decisions in a split second. People obviously want to keep people safe. That is the leading reason for all of these rule changes. Not leading with your helmet, not like initiating contact with the helmet, all these sort of things.
Right.
But they also don't want to make football not football anymore.
I understand. And they experimented with the pass interference being challengeable. Remember?
Right.
I think that was last year, right? 2019,
yeah.
Which was obviously a knee-jerk reaction from the Saints-Vikings game. Or what was it? The Saints-Rams game.
Saints-Rams, yeah.
Yeah. And I understand that. It slowed the game down and coaches were throwing the red flag for any sort of chance at an offensive or defensive pass interference that wasn't called or that was called on the field, either side. And it slowed the game down tremendously. And I understand that. However, we're talking about player safety, right? We're not talking about pass interference. We're talking about helmet to helmet, leading with the crown of the helmet. And the NFL keeps talking about trying to make the game safer. I mean, going back to, we didn't talk about this, but going back to the Ravens-Bills game, there was a play that was ridiculous. It was roughing the passer because one of the Ravens players just literally because of his fucking momentum, ran into Josh Allen, used his hands to kind of push him away, which we've seen 100,000 times this season. And of course, and he did a little flop. Good job for Josh Allen. Flops to the ground.
Right.
And then we gets the call and actually put them in field goal range. And that's how they got their first field goal. And so actually their only field goal. Okay. So without the little play, the Bills wouldn't even have 17 points. They'd have 14 points, but they're making these efforts to protect the quarterback, to protect player safety, and all this other bullshit, okay? But at a certain point, these plays that are being called on the field to protect player safety needs to be reviewed so that people can get the call right. It is what it is.
I mean, I don't know how you do it reliably and consistently without like checking every tackle. I mean, you're going to obviously be able to, there are going to be some tackles you look at and go, that's clearly fine. But anytime that you have, it's just about setting precedent. People don't regularly try to do it. It happens sometimes. Because, there is a respect for a lot of these players out there between each other. Like, I'm not going to hit you dirty because this is our career. This is our livelihood. And I feel like that is a thing very commonly with these players, right?
Sure.
So obviously they're not trying to maim each other. So the idea that I'm not going to try to hurt you, you're not going to try to hurt me, that it doesn't happen nearly as often as... I mean, obviously the big ones suck because they are televised the most. This was a playoff game. It would happen during a score, But
it was the make or break difference because the Browns lose by less than a touchdown.
But if that doesn't happen on a scoring play, people will go, oh, that may have been dirty, but no one's talking about it ever again after the game. They'll talk about it during the game. They're not talking about, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I understand. It's the same thing with with the Saints-Rams pass interference, right? There's pass interferences on a lot of plays that aren't called. However, it was so blatantly obvious. It was so, on its own, right? There was no one around, and it was obviously a potentially scoring play that it happened on. It just puts a huge spotlight on it.
Biggest piece of it, I mean, aside from the Browns losing, the game was still very close. 17-22. Good for the Browns. Hell of a fucking season from the Browns.
Yeah, I'd be happy if I was a Browns fan.
Like 3 years ago, their combined record for their last two seasons was like, I think it was 1-31, right?
No, it wasn't.
2 years ago? Yeah, they won one game and then they went another year where they went 0-16.
2 years ago, you're saying? I don't think so.
You want to bet on it?
Are you saying, hold on. Are you saying in the 2018 season they had one win?
No, I'm saying, 2 years ago from 2020, 1918. Oh, I don't know what it was. It was when Hugh Jackson was the coach. Whenever it was.
Okay. Well,
before they had Baker.
But wait, is it when they had Baker or before they had Baker?
It was before they had Baker.
Okay.
When Baker came in, he got them 5 wins, I want to say.
Well, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, no way they went 1 win or 0 wins with Baker as their quarterback.
No. It was right before I think the year they got 0 was the year they got Baker, I want to say.
Okay, I believe that. I actually believe that because they had the number 1 pick in the draft, and that's how they picked Baker.
Yeah. Either way, I know that there was a 2-year run where they were 1-31. It was when Hugh Jackson was the coach. Terrible. Anyway, looking at where they're at now, they've got a lot of good pieces. I like their coaching staff. I like their direction. On paper, Odell coming back should make them better. If he is healthy, he should make them a better football team, right?
But he's not. He's not going to.
Probably not. But
because there's some weird dynamic with Baker, and I don't know, but with Odell out, it seems like everyone's more comfortable to play how they're actually supposed to play, how they're actually play to their strengths, not always trying to throw it to Odell even if he's not open.
Right. And I don't want to put all that on Odell because as an org too, if you pay a player a certain amount of money, you're going to have some other spirits of the football realm pushing you to like, we got to use this guy to get our money's worth, right?
Sure.
But the biggest story of this game is that, one, Andy Reid has huge balls.
Yes, he does. I loved that fourth down. What was it? 4th and 1?
4th and inches in the pass play. 4th and
inches, and they line up in shotgun with Chad Henne, and even Tony Romo, who's announcing the game's like, doesn't look like they're going to snap the ball. It looks like they're just going to try to jump them off sides. No one's looking, like their body language, no one's looking like it's going to snap it. And then, boom, they snap it. They throw the ball to Tyreek. It was crazy. It was the balls.
And the other part is obviously Mahomes left with a concussion, or at least for concussion protocol.
Right.
They did not say he had a concussion. They just said he was in concussion protocol. He got up really fucking bad. Like he got up and stumbled around. There was a report recently that said that if he hadn't entered the protocol, like from the NFL, like if the upstairs hadn't called and said you have to take a look at him, he would have came back and played.
Yes.
But when that happens, they have to go and check them out.
So I don't know how real this is. I did see it on an article from a reliable news source, but it said that Patrick Mahomes isn't concussed. He tweaked a nerve in his neck.
That could be a thing.
So I don't know how, tweaking nerves would cause your motor skills because, like you said, he was stumbling and bumbling when he was trying to get off the ground after that tackle, and he looked like a girl that had too many White Claws. And I don't know. I don't know if a tweaked nerves makes you do that. And if it does, maybe that's a good thing because I'm assuming that the healing process of a tweaked nerve or the recovery time is faster than a concussion because that means your brain's not actually damaged.
And he was playing very well before that. I mean, 21 completions on 30 attempts, 250 yards. He threw a touchdown. He also rushed for one himself.
Yeah, he looked great. Threw that ball to the fucking heavens.
Yeah. Dude, when he threw that ball, I was like, this team's winning another Super Bowl. There's no, like, he was so fired up. I was like, there's no possible way they don't win another Super Bowl.
That's good for us. That
is great for us. Do you want to tell that story?
Okay. Story time. This is Ian's story time. So everyone, sit down, get a comfortable position. Okay, Andrew, you know this story because you were with me when it happened.
Yes, I was.
last year, I'm going to throw you under the bus a little bit, Andrew, because you were the person to come to my desk and
notify. I said this is crazy.
And you notified me. So what happened was, this was early 2019, okay? This was when the 49ers and the Chiefs had already made it to the Super Bowl, but it was the week before. You know, that lull of a week that there are no games. It's just calmness, right? Right before the Super Bowl. So I'm at my desk at work, minding my own damn business, and who would show up to my desk to show me something on their William Hill Sportsbook app? None other than Andy Heidemann himself. And what did you say, Andrew?
I was like, you got to look at these odds. They don't make sense. Like, we have to bet on this, I think. Like, it doesn't. I was like so confused, but also so like, it was just weird, right?
Right. And sorry, this was 2020, not 2019. This is for the 2019 season, but this was literally last year at this exact same time.
Right.
And so I go to William Hill and I look, and there are these odds, and it says team to win Super Bowl, right? And it shows a bunch of teams, but it shows the Chiefs and the 49ers at plus 700. And I'm like, wait a fucking minute. Plus 700 for both of these teams to win the Super Bowl. They're the only teams left to win the Super Bowl. And it had all the other playoff teams that had already been eliminated at that time. And so I thought, as did you, that William Hill had made some sort of error in their sports book and was offering, and this has happened before. This isn't unprecedented. Sportsbooks fuck up all the time, and they accidentally, let these odds slip that are no-brainers, okay? And they have to, I think, by law, they have to adhere by them. But
I think they are able to issue a refund under certain circumstances.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know, but all I know is that the Chiefs and the 49ers were both at plus 700. And I obviously was like, this is a no-brainer because either one of them has to win, right? So that means I can put half my money on the Chiefs and half my money on the 49ers. And I had like $300 in the sportsbook account at that time from like winnings over the season. And I was like, okay, I'll just, 50-50. I put 150 in the Chiefs at plus 700 to win the Super Bowl. And I put the 49ers plus 700 to win the Super Bowl. And I was like, okay, easy. And then I did something even more stupid because I got greedy. And I was like, and this is before, Andrew, you kind of had left. And you went to go get my car.
So that morning my car wouldn't start. And Ian, you had to give me a ride to work.
Yeah.
So we get to work and it's 10:45 at this point. And I'm like, I'm going to take an early lunch because don't forget, before I had DraftKings, I had to go and deposit money physically. So I was like
Walgreens.
I'm like, I have to borrow your car. So while this is all going on for Ian, he gave me his keys and I took an early lunch and I went and I got money out of the bank and I went and deposited it into my sportsbook account. I come back and and this is like 20 minutes. By the time I get back, I have to, because I would have done the same thing Ian did. I would have put my money on a team or both the teams, but it takes 15 minutes to post to your account. So I'm like, I'll just drive back to the office, talk with him for a bit and we'll do it then. Drive back to the office and I get there and Ian's sitting at his desk.
I'm giddy as fuck, dude. I'm so giddy because as Andrew was gone with my car and I put 150 on both the 49ers and the Chiefs to win, I did something else. I did what Andrew does every fucking week and I doubled down. And what I did was I looked to see what the max deposit was on William Hill, which was $1,500. And I deposited $1,500 into my account right then and there without ever thinking. And I was like, I'm just gonna pour everything I have onto this because
it's free money.
It's free money. Two things are gonna happen. One, William Hill is going to realize what they did and just offer a refund, like Andy, like you just said. Or two, they have to legally abide by the odds that they gave out. And I win either way because plus 700 on either of these two teams winning is a max payday for me. So I doubled down and I did exactly what I did. Deposited $1,500 extra into the account to split it up. So $750 to each side. Okay, so I put $750 on the Chiefs, an extra $750. So a total of $900 on the Chiefs at plus 700 to win the Super Bowl. And I did the exact same thing, but for the 49ers. $900 plus 700 to win the Super Bowl. And I was so excited. I did the math, and it said I would win $6,000 with those odds if I put in $900. I was like, I'll win $6,000. That's great. And even with, spending 900 on the other half, that comes out to like 5,100. Right. Whatever. I'm walking away with around $5,000 of winnings just by putting in $1,500 worth of bets and splitting them in half. Now, Andrew comes up to my desk and delivers one of the worst news of all time. Go ahead. It
was for this year's Super Bowl. And now it all makes sense. The odds, the amount of teams, everything. And the thing that obviously sportsbooks do this all the time. Like there was not enough. If you dug, there was enough detail. Like if you weren't like oblivious.
At the very top, Andrew. At the very top, it said odds for winner of Super Bowl. A bunch of Roman numerals that I didn't pay attention to, and those Roman numerals spelled out 55. And 55 is this Super Bowl, not last year's Super Bowl between the Chiefs and the 49ers, but this year's Super Bowl, which is still to be decided.
Now, luckily, one of the teams that you picked were the Chiefs. And the Chiefs still look like they can do it. They are rolling.
Chiefs could do it. If they win Super Bowl 55, I will get $6,000, which, like I just said, would make the whole thing worth it because I would have walked away with, $5,000 in winnings. Right? I don't know if that's right. I'm sure. Whatever. I'll win thousands of dollars of winnings. Okay. I don't know the exact number. Okay. But just know that it would have all been worth it if the Chiefs win Super Bowl 55.
I hope it happens.
If they don't, and if the Chiefs lose to the Bills, or if the Chiefs lose to the Packers in Super Bowl 55.
Here's the thing about if they make it to the Super Bowl. At least you can hedge then.
I know, but God, I don't know what to do. I don't know. Should I actually do that?
If they make the Super Bowl, you'll have to hedge because
I don't know if
then
I
it's
want
guaranteed money. You can at least get your $900 back.
I guess, yeah.
You'll just have to run the math and look at the odds. Like there will be an amount. Like you might have to drop like over $1,000. You might have to drop $2,000 to like break even. But like then it would be like you never lost anything, or like you come out with like $1,500.
Yeah, because we're talking about $1,500, $1,800 really, because I had the $1,500 max deposit and I had the $300 worth of winnings. So $1,800.
The $900 you bet on the Niners, that's gone. All right,
it's gone. She gone. So okay, so worst case scenario, the Chiefs lose to the Bills, and I just ate $1,800, and that's a very valuable experience for me, right?
Yes.
Okay. I've already, by the way, for anyone listening, I've mentally acknowledged that money is gone. I mentally came to terms with that a long time ago because I was very, very upset. I was very mad. I was like the 5 stages of fucking loss or grief. I went through them all. Okay. And at the end of the day, I said, whatever, I washed my hands of it. It's gone. Like, learn from your mistakes and don't be a dumbass ever again. And I have been totally. But if the Chiefs beat the Bills and make it to the Super Bowl, then you're right. I can at least hedge it so that at least I break even. Worst case scenario, they lose.
If the Chiefs, let's just say the Chiefs make it and the Packers make it, the Chiefs do you think they're going to be favored or are they going to be underdogs?
It just depends, I guess. Those kinds of things really depend on the games leading up to it. Because if the Chiefs blow out the Bills and look amazing, and the Packers barely beat the Bucs, well, then all of a sudden the Chiefs are the hot team in town.
And that's better for you.
Why? Oh, because of the hedging.
Because then because then you can hedge less money to win a better amount. Because you're already in with the Chiefs. So your best bet is that like Devontae Adams goes down or something like that but they still beat the Bucs, and then Devontae Adams is going to be questionable for the Super Bowl or whatever, and then they're like 2 days or 3 days before they'll be like he's all good, and then like before then you could probably get a decent hedge.
Well, I'll tell you an even better scenario. The Bucs beat the Packers.
That's my favorite
Bucs,
scenario, actually.
And the Bucs go to the Super Bowl, there's no way the Bucs will be favored over the Chiefs unless Patrick Mahomes doesn't play.
Now you say that, but you should know I'm almost certain. I'm actually, you know what? I'm going to look this up before I make a fool of myself. Because
nope, just say it. Just say it.
Do you know where the next Super Bowl is being played?
Yeah, it's in Tampa Bay, right?
It's in Tampa Bay.
Okay, but it doesn't matter.
I'm just saying that's a very nice advantage that not a lot of people playing in a Super Bowl get, a home field advantage.
I still don't think that the Bucs are going to be favored against the Chiefs.
No. I don't think they're going to be. They probably won't be favored. But I'm just saying, like,
well, then that's the best outcome because then I'll have the best odds because the Packers have a very good chance of being the favorite in the Super Bowl. But if the Bucs beat the Packers,
I get what you're saying now.
Then
you're talking about just strictly for hedging.
Strictly for hedging. I thought that was the whole conversation.
Sure. Well, I was just saying that, like, I think it's interesting that, like, it's funny to me that the Bucs, we can't even imagine them being favored if they make it. But if they beat the Packers and it's at home, like, I'm just saying, I think that there very well could be a shot.
Sure.
So you're just saying if you're guaranteed there or not, then it's better.
I'm just talking hedging.
Yeah, I agree.
Just talking hedging. So, okay. Anyway, and speaking of
that's
the
a good
Bucs,
segue into our next.
Chiefs. Wait. Chiefs beat the Browns 22-17. They do not cover the 10. Yep, they don't cover the 10-point spread. The Browns do, and the over/under was 56.5. So hopefully you took the under.
And that game, actually, as it got closer and closer, the spread was shrinking a bit. The Browns, I think, by the end of it, were +8, and I think they still covered that.
Very cool, Kanye.
Yep. Okay, Bucs Saints.
Drew Brees' last game in the NFL.
Potentially. It's like 98% sure. But they did ask him at the press conference. He says, I'm going to do what I did last year. I'm going to think about it, and I'll let everyone know.
He's got, I mean, come on, Andrew. I know it's not 100% yet because he hasn't said anything, but come on. There's no way Drew Brees comes back. His arm was the noodlest of noodle arms, ramen central, angel hair pasta. There's no chance that Drew Brees comes back. And if he does, I hope his wife, his best friend, Sean Payton, someone tells him, hey, for the sake of your legacy, please don't come back.
You know, and I'm looking, it's kind of sad. One of those interceptions was not his fault. That final one, I mean, it was a
ricochet.
Right, but I mean, you hope your guy can, I mean, it wasn't on target necessarily, but you got to hope your guy can make the catch, make the play. Two of them he just didn't read the defense right. It's kind of a shame that this stat line will be his last game ever, you know? But it was like only 134 yards. He only threw a touchdown. 3 interceptions.
We all can't be Peyton Manning or Ray Lewis retiring on top with a Super Bowl ring.
Well, it's funny. That's funny. I always like that comparison for Peyton because he did go out on top with a Super Bowl ring. His stat line is not good for that game.
No, it wasn't, but he won a Super Bowl.
He right, did. Yeah, who gives a fuck? Like, I won a Super Bowl. Yeah,
and he drank a lot of Budweiser.
God, did he get fined for that? I can never remember.
No, he got paid for that by Budweiser.
Well, he got paid by Budweiser, but the NFL is kind of like...
what do you think the NFL is going to fine? Budweiser is one of their partners, too. You think the NFL is going to fine one of their greatest players of all time for mentioning one of their sponsors of the entire league? That makes no sense.
Well, the reason
Get the fuck out of here.
The reason I bring that up is because I remember that being talked about at the time, so I didn't know if there was like certain regulations that prohibited
fake news,
certain sponsor spots.
Unless he actually was fined, then that's real. But I don't.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't remember, but I do remember that being a topic of conversation.
Let's get back to the Bucs Saints. The Bucs are going to the Super Bowl.
I like them to beat. No, I like them to beat the Packers. We'll talk about that on Friday.
I literally started this show by saying the Packers are going to win the Super Bowl, and now I'm saying the Bucs are going to beat the Packers to even go to the Super Bowl.
I just think that like Tom Brady is good at football. The team suffered a little bit. Antonio Brown did not play the second half because he had some sort of injury. They didn't really say what it was, but he just didn't play. That's another weapon for them.
Right. That's a big loss if he can't play next week.
They started slow, but they do every single time they've played the Saints this year. They have started slow. Right. And the Packers defense is not the Saints defense.
So the Bucs, I'm not. I want to say I'm not betting against Tampa Tom or playoff Tom, okay? Because this is his fucking domain, dude. This is his 15th conference finals game,
yeah,
which is insanity. I mean, I can't bet against him, right? You can't bet against him. I wouldn't either. I mean, I know I said the Packers are going to win the Super Bowl, but at the same time, just talking about playoff Tom, I don't know. Now, that being said, the Bucs defense bailed him out of this game. Those 3 interceptions were very important for the Bucs. Very, very important. And I don't see the Bucs defense getting 3 interceptions on Aaron Rodgers.
I don't see them getting 3 on Aaron Rodgers either. But that doesn't mean that they're not going to be in the same kind of position where, because to me, Drew tried to force some balls. That's just, he didn't see some linebackers, all that kind of stuff. Aaron Rodgers isn't going to do that. But Aaron Rodgers also isn't stupid. So in those scenarios, he's either going to run it or check it down. That is something he can do that Drew Brees can't do, right?
Right.
But I just think that the Bucs defense has been underrated most of the year in general. They have been really good in these playoffs. I would say that it's not a guaranteed win for the Packers. I think there are a lot of people who think that, but I would be legitimately scared of these Bucs.
I would too. And also playoff Leonard Fournette.
Playoff Lenny. That's another thing they talked about. He is used to getting 200 plus carries a year. He has less than 100 this year. He is fresh for the first time ever, and he's playing in the postseason.
Right. Well, Ronald Jones took the majority of the snaps.
Right, but I'm just saying that they have another back who is because Ronald Jones looked great when he ran the football, but Leonard Fournette didn't look bad.
No, they both look good. They both look very good. They both remind me of Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins, a dynamic duo.
Man.
Now,
okay.
How about that trick play that the Saints did with Jameis Winston
I couldn't believe they got away with it.
That was fucking awesome. And I kind of want to talk about the future of the Saints because we've talked about Drew Brees retiring. Who do you think, if he does, is going to be the starting quarterback of the Saints next year?
So that's a really good question. I think it's going to be Jameis because he
Isn't it weird, though, because they started Taysom when Drew was out with his ribs?
Yeah, but, it made me think that they're going to probably keep Taysom. They're not going to let him go.
Are you kidding me? Sean Payton loves that man like a fucking son.
Right. So what my guess is they have an all right draft pick. They're going to try to grab a quarterback that slips through late to be the new backup to Jameis. And Taysom's going to be technically the backup, but they need him to be able to do the gadget stuff that they do.
Like a utility player?
They'll have to, right? Unless they're going to change their offense a little bit more, even more, right? Because it can't be the same offense that Drew Brees ran.
Does that mean
it's going to have to be less complicated?
Does that mean he's going to be listed as a tight end on the ESPN fantasy ad next year?
No, dude. I have no fucking clue.
Okay. Oh, man. What a shit show. But, I mean, good for Jameis for throwing that touchdown. I feel like that one play...
It was a good ball.
It was... Well, that's exactly what I'm about to say, is that one play to a wide-open receiver for a touchdown is going to get, him another contract somewhere.
Can you imagine if he threw a pick on that play?
That would be hilarious. A pick six.
Okay. Speaking of playoff Tom, here's something that I want to bring up because I was looking at this a couple of days ago. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Of the top 5 on this list, these are the number of playoff games started. Russell Wilson has 16 playoff games that he started in. Drew Brees has 18. Aaron Rodgers has 19. Big Ben has 22. Tom Brady has 43.
Is that are you saying that, did you go by record?
No, that's not record. That's games started. I can give you record.
No. Not, I'm saying, is that the record held by Tom? Are you saying?
Oh, yeah. Based on it, Tom Brady has 43 playoff games as quarterbacks. Maybe there is a special teams player or something who has.
I'm saying, is that ascending order? In quarterbacks.
That is ascending order, yes. That is ascending order. Tom Brady is number 1.
So, exactly. So, fuck it. Well, who's starting right now in the NFL, right?
Right, yep.
Gotcha. And You didn't say this, but Lamar has 4.
Lamar has 4. Let me see where he is on this list. There he is. He's right under Ryan Tannehill with also 4. You know what's 24. Funny? Listen.
He's 24, Andrew. He's a fresh 24 too.
Mahomes has 6.
Yeah. And Mahomes is 25 or 26.
This is funny though. So you got Jackson at 4, Tannehill at 4, Goff at 5, Nick Foles at 6.
Nick Foles. I mean, Big Dick Nick, dude, won him a Super Bowl.
Joe Flacco is 15.
Yeah, he's
number 6 on the list.
He's a great playoff quarterback. Now, getting to the playoffs is a whole different beast. Right. But you get Flacco into the playoffs, you're in for some trouble.
Wait, what about Eli Manning? He's not in. He's not playing anymore, so he's not on the list.
Well, what about Peyton Manning? What about fucking Joe Montana?
Think
with your head, Andrew.
I'm still going to assume none of them have 43. I'm guessing Brady's at the top of that list.
Well, yes, I would also. He has the most
32 wins.
He has the most Super Bowl rings. So I would almost be inclined to say whoever has the most Super Bowl wins probably has the most playoff appearances. Starts.
Anyway, so the way this went was the Bucs ended up winning it 30-20. The Saints looked great to start. The first quarter definitely looked good, but
the Bucs cover. The Saints were 3-point favorites, and the over/under was 51.5. So tough beat if you picked the over.
Man, football's close to over. I'm so sad.
I know. We're gonna have to actually start paying attention to the NBA or fucking hockey or something.
I've been watching highlights and I've been like making sure I'm keeping up with the news.
I can't do it. I can't do it not while football's going on. I mean, I
gotta know what LeBron's doing.
I do fantasy basketball, so that's the extent of my NBA like paying attention. So I do pay attention to like when someone plays and how they do because I'm actually very involved in fantasy basketball. It's fun, but at the same time, I can't fully get into another sport while NFL is happening, and that's mostly
baseball's not going on.
And mostly that's the reason why I didn't even pay attention to the NBA finals this year because it was going on during the NFL season for like the first time ever.
Finals are crazy, dog.
I honestly, it was the Lakers. Lakers beat the Heat, right?
No, Lakers beat the Nuggets.
No.
Yep.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Nuh-uh.
Yes.
The Heat didn't make it?
No.
Who did? Really?
They lost to the Nuggets.
Wow. See, I didn't even.
I know. I'm actually.
For some reason, I thought Jimmy Butler played in the finals.
Jimmy Butler gave everything he had. He laid it all out on the fucking court, but it just was not enough.
The Nuggets, really? See, I didn't even pay attention. Are you fucking with me?
I'm not, but now you keep pushing back, and now I'm scared that I sound like a moron. I'm almost positive.
You've done this before. You've corrected me, and I've been.
You're just making me scared. I'm almost
all right. Well, I'm looking it up right now. Okay, I'm looking it up. You're so dumb, dude. You're so dumb. Oh man, dude, you're so dumb. It was the Heat. The Lakers beat the Heat 4-2 in the series. Man. The Nuggets.
It's a good thing I don't watch basketball.
Yeah, because wait a second, Andrew. The Nuggets are in the West. So the Lakers couldn't even get to the finals without beating the Nuggets.
Who did the Heat? Well, the Nuggets beat the Clippers.
Okay, but we're still talking about Western teams, right?
I know, but then who did they lose to?
Who did the Nuggets lose to?
Yeah,
the Lakers to go to the finals.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. That maybe because I remember that being a big fucking deal because everyone's like they're taking them to 6 games or whatever the fuck it was, but.
Oh my god, I was right again. I was right again, baby. Yes, I was right. Lakers beat the Heat 2020 finals. Now, Andrew, it's only funny because you corrected me and we're so certain about it. But at the same time, I don't fault you because again, NFL was going on at that time. Who fucking cares?
Ooh, Baltimore just dropped Mark Ingram. Live breaking news.
Yep.
When you hear about
breaking
this
news. Yeah. Ingram and Griffin have been cut. RG3, which is honestly that. I mean, Ingram was a healthy scratch
for like the last 7 weeks, something like that.
Yes, and RG3 was hurt. Plus, I like Tyler Huntley. We've talked about him, and I like Trace McSorley.
Sure.
Okay, well, I think
That's the whole shebang.
That's it. We actually filled up a lot of time.
I can't wait to talk about basketball.
And now it's time for grapefruit.
Normally, you can only get this technique in one of my classes, but I wanted to share this with you because I believe every man should get grapefruited. When you grapefruit your man, it's going to feel as if you are giving him head and fucking him at the same time.
Every time I come around your city, bling, bling. Every time I come around your city, bling, bling. Every time I come around your city, bling, bling. Every time I come around your city, bling, bling. Every time I come around your city, bling, bling. Every time I come around your city, bling, bling.
Valentino Summers and Wave Runners. Chains on my niggas like slave runners. Drug dealers anonymous. Valentino Summers and Wave Runners. Chains on my niggas like slave runners. Drug dealers anonymous. How many Madonnas can that Mazda fit? My brick talk is more than obvious. It's ominous. Garage is the phantom. Ghouls, ghosts, and goblins. Blonde mohawk the collection. I'm Dennis Rodman.
No better feeling would he ever get than being grapefruited. No better feeling would he ever get than...
Every time I come around your city, bling, bling. Every time I come around your city, bling, bling. Every time I come around your city, bling, bling. Every time I come around your city, bling, bling. Every time I come around your city, bling, bling. Every time I come around your city, bling, bling.
Time to hit the showers because baths are for babies.